بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألف لام ميم. ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين الذين يؤمنون بالغيب ويقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون والذين يؤمنون بما أنزل إليك وما أنزل من قبلك وبالآخرة هم يوقنون. صدق الله العلي العظيم.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mohsen Bhai. Next, I'd like to invite Rehan Abbas for the mankhula.
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد.
السلام علیکم ورحمۃ اللہ وبرکاتہ. ولادت باسعادت حضرت امام زین العابدین علیہ السلام اور سبھی کو مبارکباد پیش کرتا ہوں. چار مصرے آج کی مناسبت سے سماعت فرمائیں گے.
سجاد جو کتبات کے تلوار کے ساتھ آئے سجاد جو خطبات کے تلوار کے ساتھ ارے کانپ اٹھا تخت یزیدی در دیوار کے ساتھ. شعر دے آگے. ہتھ کڑی سجاد نماز. ہتھ کڑی بیڑی میں پڑھتے تھے جو سجاد نماز. ارے دین بھی سجدے میں جھک جاتا تھا بیمار کے ساتھ. دین بھی سجدے میں جھک جاتا تھا بیمار کے ساتھ. آئے سجاد جو. اور بس دو تین شعر گزارش کے ہیں خاک شفا کے حوالے سے سماعت فرمائیں گے. میں خاک شفا ہوں میں خاک شفا ہوں میں خاک شفا ہوں آگے خاک شفا کیا کہہ رہے؟ میں خاک کربلا ہوں، شفا بانٹتی ہوں میں، ہر لا علاج غم کی دوا بانٹتی ہوں میں، کیا مجھ سے پوچھتے ہو کہ کیا بانٹتی ہوں میں، شمس و قمر کو رزق ضیا بانٹتی ہوں میں، ارے سوچو سوچو ذرا سی دیر کدھر جائے کائنات، میں بھی شفا نہ بانٹوں تو مر جائے کائنات، میں خاک شفا ہوں، میں خاک شفا ہوں۔ اور مقام دکھے خاک شفا کا، میرا مقام کیا ہے ختیجہ بتائے گی، ہوا سے پوچھو مریم و سارا بتائے گی، میں چاند سے حسین ہوں فضا بتائے گی، طاہر ہو کتنی فاطمہ زہرا بتائے گی، ارے پوچھو فروع دین سے یہ کیسا اصول ہے، جو سجدہ مجھ پہ ہوگا وہ سجدہ قبول ہے، میں خاک شفا ہوں۔ اور آخر میں دو شعر سمجھ رہا ہوں، میں خاک شفا ہوں، ہے میری جیسی عزت و توقیر کس کے پاس، جنت سے بھی حسین ہے جاگیر کس کے پاس، دنیا میں میری جیسی ہے جاگیر کس کے پاس، المختصر ہے روضہ شبیر کس کے پاس، ارے رہتا ہے آنا جانا یہاں پر رسول کا، سینے پہ میرے سوتا ہے بیٹا بطول کا، میں خاک شفا ہوں، میں خاک شفا ہوں۔ اور یہ آخری شعر سماعت فرما گے، میرا مقام دین پیمبر سے پوچھ لو، میرا مقام دین پیمبر سے پوچھ لو، ہوں کتنی خوش نصیب مقدر سے پوچھ لو، جوہر ہے مجھ میں کتنے یہ گوہر سے پوچھ لو، ہے کتنے لال مجھ میں قلندر سے پوچھ لو، ارے پوچھو عقیدتوں سے میرا کیا مقام ہے، پوچھو عقیدتوں سے میرا کیا مقام ہے، مٹی ہو پھر بھی پاؤں لگانا حرام ہے، میں خاک شفا ہوں، میں خاک کربلا ہوں، شفا بانٹتی ہوں میں، ہر لا علاج غم کی دوا بانٹتی ہوں میں، کیا مجھ سے پوچھتے ہو کہ کیا بانٹتی ہوں میں، شمس و قمر کو رزق ضیا بانٹتی ہوں میں، سوچو ذرا سی دیر کدھر جائے کائنات، میں بھی شفا نہ بانٹوں تو مر جائے کائنات، میں خاک شفا ہوں، میں خاک شفا
Now without further ado, dearest brothers and sisters, with us we have Syed Asad Jaferi Saheb, born and raised in Toronto, Canada. After achieving his education in the IT field, he and his wife went to the Imamia in Khum in the year 2004, where they both spent almost a decade studying. Both now live in Toronto, where they serve the community. Truly feel honored to have Moulana Syed Asad Jaferi's presence with us, and of course to enlighten us further on youth and parenting. आवाज़ बुलंद के साथ हम गुजारिश करते हैं मौलाना सैयद असद जाफरी से कि वो आए और अपनी तकरीर पेश करें.
Please recite one loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي لا يبلغ مدحته القائلون ولا يحصي نعماءه العادون ولا يؤدي حقه المجتهدون، الذي لا يدركه بعد الحمم ولا يناله غوص الفطن، ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين، حبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا وشفيع ذنوبنا، سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد. وآل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين، لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين، صاحب العصر والزمان، خليفة الرحمن إمام الإنس والجان، ولعن الله وعداهم أجمعين إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقد قال الله وقوله الحق. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الذين جاهدوا فينا لنهدينهم سبلنا وإن الله لمع المحسنين. صلوا على محمد وعلى محمد. I can have one loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad, please. First of all, let me express my appreciation and my gratitude to Anjuman al-Sughra and to the organizing committee here at Imamia Manzil in Bangalore for arranging a program like this and allowing myself to come. I am truly honored to be part of this program. My first time in Imamia Manzil. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept all of your efforts. May Allah bless you and your families, inshallah, and make you amongst the muntadhareen of Imam Zamana, inshallah. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Secondly, we send our mubarak and our congratulations to the Imam of our time, the Maraji, the Rahbarat, all of you and your respected families, on the days of the wiladat of Imam Sajjad alayhi salatu wassalam. Allahumma salli ala. We live in a very difficult era with many challenges for our youth, and there are many issues to talk about. I only have one speech tonight, so I'll do my best to pinpoint and talk about those issues that I think are one of the more crucial ones You know, we listen to the news nowadays, a lot of grief, a lot of tragedy, and it adds to our emotion, it adds to our anxiety, adds to our stress. On top of that, we live in a mental health era, an era where we have 15, 16-year-olds fighting depression, fighting anxiety, fighting insomnia. I know of 17-year-olds who take antidepressant medication. I know 18-year-olds who go and visit a psychiatrist twice a week. And the problem is that the youth have no idea what to do with that anxiety and stress, and the parents also have no clue what to do with that anxiety and stress. And rightfully so. Our respective elders come from a generation where that expression of emotion, that expression of grief or anxiety or stress or depression just simply wasn't there. Imagine now if your father or your grandfather came home one day and expressed to his parents that I felt anxious or I felt stress, or what's happening right now in school for me is giving me some anxiety. That really wouldn't be taken very well at home or even acknowledged or identified. But yet today, in this day and age, in this world, it's up to the parents now to understand that this is a completely different era altogether, number one. And number two, for the youth to also understand there are principles and there are solutions for your problems in the deen of Islam itself. The problem is that sometimes we have not presented Islam to be the solution to our youth. The deen has been presented as yes and no, jaiz, najaiz, halal, haram. All of our Q&As, all of my question and answers, wherever I go in the world, it's all, is this haram, is this halal, can we eat here, can we go here, is this jaiz, is this najaiz? The entire deen is just red lights or green lights. Just a code of law. If you follow it, you're in heaven. If you don't follow it, you're in hell. And it's a very, very simplistic way to look at the deen. The deen didn't come simply as a code of law. The Quran has 6,000 plus verses in it, 500 of which are on the code of law, on fiqh itself. The remaining 5,000 plus talks about purpose of life, talks about your creator, talks about your hadaf, talks about you and others in this world. So if we are to present the deen to my youth who are right now in front of me as a solution to the problems, when that problems hit, they won't run from the deen, they'll run to the deen. But right now that's not happening. The last place they go to for a solution is the musalla, or the masjid, or the azakhana, or the dua. They'll try everything else, the last resort will be this, for example. And that's partly because they haven't accepted the deen, and partly because we haven't presented the deen properly. So tonight I just want to spend a few minutes talking a little bit about some major issues. Number one is I want to speak a little bit about individualism in this day and age, the me-centric era that we live in, and combat that or compare that to the collective nature of the religion. Why is it that Islam seems to be obsessed with the jama'ah and the group in general as opposed to the individual? And then I will move towards the parents. Those of you in this room who are mothers or fathers, what can we do? I'm also a parent as well. What can we do now to bring about this revolution now, where the kids look at themselves and they look from a me era to a we era? And there's benefits in both, inshallah. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. First of all, the deen of Islam, it seems at least, it appears at least, always came down to promote the collective nature of the human being. Countless examples where the deen talks about the fact that if you are to worship Allah in a collective group, 70 times more reward. Even if there's only two of you inside your home, a husband and a wife, and I encourage my fathers in the audience to establish Jamaat prayers inside your home. At least once a week, at least once a day if you can, maybe Maghrib Isha in the evening when everyone's home from work and school, you as the male of the house can lead the Jamaat, your wife and your kids follow you. It brings barakat inside the home. It increases risk inside the home. It moves bala away from the home. It protects the home from shaitan. That's all hadith. We don't need to be ma'soom always to lead Jamaat prayer. Sometimes we as Shi'as, we take the Jamaat prayer a little bit too seriously in terms of the fact that a ma'soom, a farisha has to come down from heaven and lead the Jamaat. Right? Whereas our Ahl Jamaat with Sunnah brothers may be a little bit too lax in that, where everybody and anybody can lead a Jamaat. There has to be a middle balance. But we have to kind of move away from the idea that me, a simple man inside the home, a sinful man inside the home, can't lead prayer inside the home. No. Especially as fathers and husbands in the audience, we are responsible to lead our families towards heaven. It's us. قُوْ أَنفُسِكُمْ وَأَهْلِيكُمْ نَارًا. Protect your family and yourselves from the fire. Be it the fire in this world or be it the fire in the hereafter. That responsibility is on our shoulders as males. So we have to be able now to understand there is an obsessively collective movement inside the deen. A few examples. We have from the life of Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam. The story says that he was walking with one of his companions and they were walking and talking, and they were moving towards both of their respective homes. They became so entrenched with the conversation that they reached the friend's house. And the friend then turns to Imam Ali and says, Mawla, your house was back there. We should have stopped off there, dropped you off. Now you have to come all the way back from my house to your house. And Imam Ali's statement to him is a beautiful one. He says, a true brother is the one who accompanies another brother to his destination. The idea of now moving with somebody else to help them reach their purpose is a collectivism that we don't have today. We live in a very me era, the selfie era, the self-promotion era, the social media era, where it's me, it's my deen, it's me, it's my God. What I do has no bearing on you whatsoever. Whether I take off my hijab or I shave my beard or I post this on social media, it's really none of your business. And this global village now, this westernized global village now, that tells you what? To each his own, mind your own business, you have to worry about you and yourself, your nafs is your God, is trickling inside of our youth today as well. That's why they run from the community, run from the masjid, all because they don't understand the purpose behind coming on a Thursday night, on a wiladat, on a shahadat, on a majlis. Come, spend 2 hours, listen to a speech that doesn't really impact me, influence me, affect me, answer my problems. I have a cup of tea, I go home. I can save 2 hours, go online, click the live feed, be in my pajamas, and I'm comfortable. Why do I have to move towards these 4 walls? And they've taken the deen that was always about Jamaat, and made it into a very infaradi deen. Whereas Imam Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam says something else. Allahumma salli ala. Now I see a lot of young kids in the middle there, and I know that you can scream very loud if you wanted to. If you can please give me a nice loud salawat, that would be great, please. I know I'm new to you and you're new to me. We give it 10-15 minutes, we'll be all right. Don't worry, inshallah. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. And while I am not saying that the individual is not important, it absolutely is important. There's an entire infiradi individual dimension of the deen, no doubt. Islam says that you are responsible for your salat. Even until your last breath, nobody else can pray salat for you. I get so many questions from my elders. Look, I can't bend, I can't stand, I can't sit. Is it okay if I ask my son to read my namaz for me? I say, uncle, as long as you're breathing, it's your namaz. When you stop breathing, it's his namaz. So there is an individual, for example, we have in wudu, for example, small examples. In wudu, for example, we have that if you are going to a picnic, let's say with your family, it's time for salat, and you do wudu, you cannot have somebody else pour the water for you for your wudu. It's haram. Your wudu is batil. That's how sometimes individual the deen is. But at the same time, it's very, very collective as well. Small things we do every single day that maybe we don't stop and think about it. Our salat, our namaz, 5 times a day. Look at the wording that we use. We stand there inside salat, we begin Surah Al-Hamd. Hadith says that without Surah Al-Hamd, your namaz is batil. The second surah is up to you, but Al-Hamd has to be there. In Al-Hamd, the entire sigha is jam. The entire pronoun inside of the surah is all plural. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. Guide us to the right path. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. Does not say إياك أعبد وإياك أستعين. The translation is not that you alone I worship, you alone I ask for help. No. You alone we worship. You alone we ask for help. You're in your room, you're by yourself, the door is closed. Where is this we coming from? It's my namaz. It's me, my musalla, my tasbih, my muhr, my qibla, my Allah. Why is this we business? In tashahud we send salam to who? As-salamu alayna. Oh, peace be upon us. Does not say as-salamu alayni. Peace be upon me. Again, I'm sitting there inside of my room by myself, tanha'i, 100% alone. And yet somehow I'm asking Allah what? Peace be upon us. Allah is pushing us towards a reality that you're not by yourself. You belong to a collective group of believers. And you're all part of one vertical movement towards Allah. Your actions are affecting others and affected by others. That's why when the Quran talks about you being the greatest nation in the world, كُنْتُمْ خَيْرَ أُمَّةٍ أُخْرَجَتْ لِلنَّاسِ. Of all the men, you're the greatest nation. Who's you? The Muslims. What makes you the greatest nation? Not your individual salat, not your individual hajj, not your individual fast. تَأْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَتَنْحَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ وَتُؤْمِنُونَ بِاللَّهِ. You are the best nation because you look out for each other. You pull each other towards good. You remove each other towards evil. And collectively you believe in one Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Meaning Allah identifies your greatness is how tight you are with everybody else. Sometimes, I tell you, my young guys in the audience, I know, I've been there. Born and raised in Toronto, having friends in Toronto, going to school in Toronto, working in Toronto. I know how hard it is. But in this day and age, everything's glamorized, right? It's all social media. I don't mean to age myself, but when I was that old, there was no social media back then. But nowadays, everything is so public. That's why, a lot of my parents in the audience, a lot of your kids have self-validation issues, have self-worth issues. You'd be surprised how many of our kids have suicidal thoughts inside their brains. And there's reasons for that. Imagine now, you promoting yourself, because nowadays everything is branding, right? We are our own brand. I am my own brand. I'm not Asad Jaferi, I'm Asad Jaferi, Inc. I'm my own brand. So what I put on social media is me promoting my brand. My customers are my followers. Right, so I take a selfie on the way, let's say, to Imamia Masjid. Saturday night, hashtag Asad Jaferi. And you take 20 selfies, just to make sure, you know, that view is good, the side is you, reflection is there, everything. Of that 20, you choose the best selfie there is. Makes your nose look small, makes you look thin, your beard looks pretty sick, it's all there. Then you post it on social media with all the hashtags. And what do? You wait. You wait for the comments, you wait for the emojis, you wait for the thumbs up. And the more you get those comments, the more validated you feel. Now that's all great when people blow up. OMG, you're so gorgeous. Oh my God, you look amazing. Sick fade, nice beard. You look hot. Right? But what happens when nobody comments on your post? You're left to think that you're ugly, you're worthless, nobody cares. You actually message people, did you see my post on my page? Yes, I did. Why didn't you reply to my post? Then he has to go and click one emoji, pick the emoji, say, there you go. It's comical, but you'd be surprised how many people depend on that for a stamp of approval for themselves. For a 15-year-old, that's terrifying. It's terrifying to put all of your self-worth in the hands of somebody else. And that causes anxiety and stress. It makes you not want to be part of the bigger Jamaat. Makes you more individual than there is. The other problem with individualism is it breeds narcissism. It breeds self-love. It breeds an ego inside of me. The more I think about myself, the more I make me, myself, the idol. As Rumi says in his Mathnavi very beautifully, the mother of all idols is the self. And we worship that idol every single day. Islam came to break idols, be it in the Kaaba, in Mecca, or be it inside your heart as well. And turn that entire individual need to worship something towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So there is a battle going on right now. My elders, my parents, my adults, please try to understand the state of your children. This is not the era that you were raised in or you grew up in. Even if you lived in Bengal your entire life. This is a different era altogether. Requires a different set of parenting, a different ideology, a different method of parenting. The first thing is to identify certain things. Part of the stress and anxiety of today's child is that there is a sense of loneliness they have inside of them. Because they have convinced themselves that nobody understands me around me. Not my parents, not my siblings, not the alim, not the community. So they build this cocoon, they live inside this cocoon. After a while it becomes depressing, lonely and dark inside of there. So part of it is to identify. A lot of my parents come to me and say, you know, Moulana, my child, oh, you know, hasi, mazak, maskhara, he was always laughing, she was always happy, go lucky, jolly, sit with me, talk with me, hug me. Now she comes to her inside the house, goes inside the room, closes the door, she's on YouTube all day. Recommended, recommended, recommended. Doesn't say a single word, khamosh mizaj as you say in Urdu. And completely close herself off inside of us. It's vital that we understand the very first solution for a lot of our youth problems are inside the home. Provided to them by our parents. To my mothers and fathers, it doesn't matter how old your kids are, young or old, you have a huge responsibility. Now how do we combat this me-centric era with a we-centric era? This tribal mentality that I want to bring about in today's youth has to begin from the home. Look, Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam, Allahumma salli ala, has a very beautiful tradition, a very nice example, one I'm sure you've heard before. Inshallah, my sisters are listening, inshallah, yes? Inshallah. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. The example that Amir al-Mu'mineen gives is that of a wolf and a sheep. He says a wolf wants to attack a sheep. He has two choices. There's a group of sheep over there. There's one lone sheep off to the side. He's smart enough to know that my chances of attacking a sheep are higher when he is by himself in the corner, as opposed to fending off the entire group and grabbing one from the group. Correct? He says shaitan is no different when it comes to us. If shaitan wishes to misguide us, he says it's a lot easier to misguide one who is individual alone off to the corner, as opposed to one who is part of a collective jama'at. Because when you are part of a collective jama'at, it becomes almost like a force field around you. If you have the right people around you, they should what? They should remind you of God, protect you from shaitan, bring you towards good. تعاونوا على البر والتقوى ولا تعاونوا على إثم وعدوان. The Quran says, cooperate, promote, brand, market what? Market taqwa and market bir, righteousness and piety. Do not push each other towards ithm and udwan, wretchedness and gunah. So now you have one individual, his family doesn't mean much to him. No community, no. Not proper friends, nothing. His nafs is his God, like Rumi says. He is what? He's bait for shaitan. He's prime meat for shaitan. Shaitan comes in, wasfasa fi sudur nas, inside the heart he begins to whisper and whisper and whisper, and before you know it, an atheist comes about, a non-Shia comes about. Why do we do matam? Why do we do this? What is nazar? What is this? Why taqleed? Where is God? All these questions come about. Why? Sometimes because the proper collective jamaat is not around that child to give him that yaqeen. Meanwhile, the Quran says that we have placed you in tribes. Oh, very carefully, please. Very carefully. Very carefully. Such an important point, please. The Quran says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Ya ayyuhan nas. Not Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu. Not just for mu'mineen. Inside of this is what? All of mankind. Muslims, non-Muslims, Hindus, Sikhs, Christian, Jews, atheists, everybody. Inna khalaqnakum min dhakarin wa untha. We created you from a man and a woman. وَجَعَلْنَاكُم مِّن شُعُوبٍ وَقَبَائِلَ لِتَعَارَفُوا. And we placed you in nations and tribes. We did this. Allah says what? I placed you in these tribes and nations. لِتَعَارَفُوا, so you can know each other. We have a built-in fitri need to what? To belong to a tribe. I'll give you a simple example. Example I gave before. In my time in Qum, when you arrive in Qum as a non-Iranian, the first thing they do is they teach you Farsi. In 7 months they teach you Farsi. How to read, how to write, how to speak, everything. Now naturally that entire school is non-Iranians. 90 plus countries are represented, and they try to make up the classes such that you are the only one from your country in that class. Otherwise, you find your Canadian bro and you start talking English. Look, we came here to teach you Farsi, not for you to teach others English, right? So there was 12 of us. I remember my class way long ago. 12 of us from China, Pakistan, Lebanon, Russia, Azerbaijan, Chile, God knows where. After the first class of Farsi, 15 minutes, 10-minute break. How long? How long? You're awake? Alhamdulillah. I don't mind serving food before the program, but samosas, heavy samosas. Doesn't matter how good I am, I can't battle samosas, that's my problem. After 50 minutes of the first class, 10-minute break. Downstairs was a small little tea shop, a canteen, a store. We'd all go downstairs, the entire school. 300 of us from different countries. It's amazing to watch as they come down the stairs, they look for their what? Their fellow countrymen. So all the Arabs will start khamsa in the corner. All the Pakistanis will start in the corner. All the guys from Azerbaijan, all of us English students from Canada, America, and London, right? We would kind of gravitate naturally towards, and within 10 minutes, we had our pockets, we had our tribes. It's fitrat, it's fitri, it's innate inside of us. My father, marhum, told me in the early 70s, when he arrived in Toronto, he did two things. Open the phone book, look for a Rizvi, a Zaidi, a Naqvi, or something that looks like a Shia name, and call them. Just arrived, any masjid, any majlis, anything. Or if in the shops he saw somebody brown, just brown, light brown, dark brown, tan, whatever. Anyway, anything brown. He'd approach them. This and that, where you're from. Even a Hindu, Sikh, they would embrace like they were long lost brothers. Yeah. It's fitri, right? That innate nature is inside of our kids as well. The need to belong to something. The need to belong to something is innate. And the first place they go to search for that need is inside the comfort of their home. I do some youth counseling in Toronto. We have a lot of problems back home. It's global now. Drugs, alcohol, depression, suicide, all these things are there inside of my community, inside of my city. And sometimes when that youth allows me inside their inner world, and I begin to kind of, probe and get inside the heart of the matter, I find out that all of this problem that right now is happening at 18, 19, 15, 17, all started from a very, very difficult childhood. Moulana, I was always told I would amount to nothing. I was always told I'll never be better than my older brother. I was always told that I'm the dark one, so I'll get married last. I was always told that, look, if you just get by high school and have some low-paying job, bahut badi baat hai. That's all I want from you. Meaning they had completely just what? Tore me down to nothing. Whenever I spoke, they quieted me. Tum chup raho, tum chote ho. Be quiet. Shh. Whenever I wanted to, let's say, play something, I was always rejected. Small things you might think, but slowly but surely they begin to realize that my need to fit, my tribal need inside of me is not being fulfilled inside my home. When that happens, they go outside the home for that need. And that's the problem. That's where the problem starts. No 8, 9-year-old wants to go outside. If the siblings, the mother, the father make them believe that, look, you are a very special part of this family, they won't need to go outside the family to fulfill that need. Now, how do we do that? The very first thing is acknowledgement. Acknowledge your children. Again, this need for acknowledgement is fitri. Imagine now someone walking in, you're sitting there with your friends having some chai, you and 5 others. This brother walks in, says salam to every single buddy but you. Okay? Second guy walks in, says salamu alaikum to everybody, not to you. Third guy walks in, salamu alaikum everybody, not to you. Fourth guy walks in, you think, hello, am I invisible to you guys? Do you not see me? Of course I see you. Then why wouldn't you greet me? Because that greeting is what? Acknowledgement. And Islam has the most beautiful system of acknowledgement there is. No hi, bye, no yo, nothing. It says what? Salamun alaykum. It's a dua to acknowledge you. In the most beautiful way, may Allah's peace be upon you. It's such a huge need to be acknowledged. Islam has identified by saying that what's worse than not being acknowledged is that when you acknowledge somebody and they don't acknowledge you back. You're talking to them, they walk away. You're talking to them, they turn their face. That's why Islam says while it's mustahab to say salam, it's wajib to give that jawab back. If he gave you the respect and honor of acknowledgement, you have to give that even better. In fact, Hadith says what? Respond in even a better way than that. My point is very simple. My point is we all have a need to fit into some group. Your kids are no different. So when your kid comes and says, Baba, Papa, Mama, Ammi, I have this story from school or that story from school, listen to them. Sit down and give them their utmost attention. The Holy Prophet, whenever he spoke to somebody, he would face them completely, eye to eye, shoulder to shoulder. Meaning what? Tell them whatever you have to say is the most important thing to me right now. Even if your kids, mashallah, their stories are woo long. From Adam all the way down to Khatam. Listen to it. Let them believe that, look, Mama and Baba care about my grade 1, grade 4 kindergarten stories. And slowly but surely they'll want to what? They'll want to feel like they belong inside the home. That tribalism is met inside the home. Because remember one thing, you can control your environment inside your home, you can't control the environment outside your home. Doesn't matter what country you live in. There's shaitan that's everywhere. So today's anxiety and stress, number one cause is individualism. We might think that it's cool to just worry about myself. It's a stress-driven lifestyle. And part of that solution to inject collectivism inside of them begins at home with the parents. We have to change the way we parent. I'm sorry to my elders. We have to look at it a little bit different. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Part of that is to create a culture. Create a culture in our communities, in our families, in our societies, where we have to worry about each other, look out for each other. I'll give you a couple examples. Those who have been to Hajj, I'm sure you've read in your books during preparation. Hadith says that one tawaf of the Kaaba removes 6,000 sins from your books. One tawaf. 6,000 sins. These aren't numbers that are just like exaggerated. These are numbers by the Ahlul Bayt. 6,000, okay? Keep that on one side. During the life of Imam Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam, Allahumma salli ala. They say that the Imam was doing Hajj with one of his companions. And that companion had a friend of his that was also doing Hajj. The friend of the companion had finished his tawaf before his friend did. So now he's off to the side, and the companion is with Imam Sadiq doing tawaf, okay? The friend then calls the companion, I need your help for something, during his tawaf, second or third round. The friend ignores that friend for a couple of rounds. Imam Sadiq is watching this. During tawaf of Hajj, where each tawaf is 6,000 sins, Imam Sadiq turns to his companion and says, do you not see your friend calling you for help? Yes, Mullah, but I'm in the middle of tawaf. It's Hajj. He says, break your tawaf, go help your friend, come back and continue your tawaf. Meaning what? One tawaf, 6,000 sins on one side, helping your brother in his time of need is on another. I don't know what happens here in Bangalore, where I've been all over the world. There isn't that culture we have. You know, one of the things that we have in hadith about life when the Imam arrives. He's arrived now, his zuhud is there, he's established his government, and now, inshallah, all of you are living under that government. One thing hadith says is that there'll be such a closeness, such a brotherhood amongst each other, that if I need something and I know it's inside your pocket, I'll go inside your pocket, take it out, use it, and you won't mind whatsoever. Try that now, see what happens to you. And that culture isn't there. The culture is meant for us to be what? Brothers or sisters together. For us to worry about each other. I'll give you one small example and then it's the dua, I'm done. You've been very, very patient with my ignorance. The concept of sakhawat, trying to build a collectivism inside of our community, right? Sakhawat, generosity, a sakhi, a generous one, who's jawad, they say in Islam, jawad, is not somebody who gives to the one who asks. That's not what generosity is in Islam. That's easy. You go outside the mosque, people here are asking for money, give them 100 rupees, 50 rupees. That's not generosity. Generosity is to give to the one before they ask you for it. That's true sakhawat. But that requires some muqaddamah. That requires a little bit of prerequisite. That you have to understand what the need of your brother is. How many times have you heard of a family falling apart? A nasty divorce happening inside that home. Husband and wife on the verge of destruction. The child has left his home, or there is tension between the parents and the children. How many times have you heard this brother and sister losing their job, getting fired for no apparent reason? 5 kids to feed, no job. And he works inside your field. Do we have that culture where I pick up the phone and say, look, I heard that you were let go. I'm sorry about that. Why don't you pass me your resume? Let me see what I could do. Do we have that culture that says, I know that things aren't right now inside your home. Is it okay if me and my wife come and bring some tea over for you? I won't ask you 1,000 questions. I won't probe. I won't sit there and get into your business. I just want to break some bread with you. Just have some tea and some samosas maybe, that's all. And what do? You crack the door a little bit open to let them know if you ever need us, we're a call away. We're one WhatsApp message away. And that's all we're here for. I'm not asking you for details, the 411, what happened, kya hua hai, kiske saath hua hai, kab hua hai. I don't care. I just want to be sharik in your pain. And this hamdardi is not in this world today. It's all individual. Well, I have my own problems, my own gham, my own dard. My heart is breaking, my family is falling apart. And sometimes we don't understand that part of the solution in fixing ourselves is fixing others. We walk past the ocean, look inside the ocean. This brother is drowning, calling for help. And we tell ourselves, Alhamdulillah, I know how to swim, and I walk away. This is the me-centric today, 2020 era. To each his own, mind your own business. Now you might think, Moulana, if I call him and say, Yar, I'm bringing chai over, they say, look, mind your own business, don't worry about it, blah, blah, blah. Fine, let him do that, that's okay. You've done your wazifa, bhai. You've done your zimmadari, right? You've done your responsibility. Eventually they'll say, look, I appreciate the gesture, but at least the idea of us caring for the person beside us. Do we have that? Imam Ali would refer to the Prophet as what? As a roaming physician in Nahj al-Balagha. Oh, it's such a beautiful title. A roaming physician. Physicians don't roam today. They sit in their daftar office. The mareez comes to them. And that mareez only comes to them when they're convinced that they're sick. And doctor waits. Nuskha de ke jo hai khuda hafiz jaiye. That's not what Imam Ali is talking about. The Prophet would roam around and he would pick up symptoms on the person before they would pick up symptoms on the person. And give them that solution before asking them to come with their hands out saying, can you help me? All of this is moving towards the idea that you're seeing right now what's happening all over the world. It's in front of you. Your own India right now has 1,000 issues. The Middle East right now is burning. So many issues everywhere. Tragedy. Our hearts are bleeding. I don't know about all of you, but I'm just devastated with all this news right now. It's only been, 11, 12 days into this new year, and all these things have happened already. And we have to somehow have some outlet now to release that grief, to lessen that gham. Imagine having all of that and internalizing it in this individual era. It's too much for us to handle. If we do it collectively, first start with your 4 or 5 people inside your home. The husband, the wife, the 3 kids, the 4 kids, the 8 kids, mashallah. I have no idea how many kids you have. At least start there, then expand out to the community. But if we don't start within our 4 walls and give our children that need for tribalism, they'll search for it outside. Or they'll internalize everything inside. And then we have anxiety, we have stress, we have mental health. We have this defeatist attitude inside of our youth today. It's too hard, Moulana, I'm out. Islam is too hard, take the hijab off. I don't want to be the ambassador. I never signed up to be the ambassador of Islam. It's too much for me to handle. You can take that to be a burden or a blessing. That you are an ambassador, a muballigh of religion. When someone looks at you, they remember God. That to me is the ultimate blessing. If I could be a wasila, a bridge from me to God, there's nothing better. Or I could say that's way too much for me to handle, I don't want to do it, I'm out. I denounce my religion, I shave off my beard, I change my name, I post ridiculous things on social media because I don't want to be attributed with this deen, for example. A little bit of stress and we're out. When Allah says that stress was made for you to identify your strengths and your power and your potential. And our youth have to understand that. And that comes from what? From the home, from the elders, from the community. Don't worship yourself. Break that idol, begin to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We ask you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to accept this qaleel ibadat, inshaAllah. We ask you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there's so much grief, tragedy, bad news all over the world. We ask you, Allah, to protect the iman of the believers all over the world, inshaAllah. To weaken the hands of humanity all over the world. To strengthen the mustaza'afin, the oppressed all over the world, inshaAllah. We ask you, Allah, what's happening in Syria, in Iran, in Iraq, Afghanistan, Palestine, Nigeria, India, Pakistan, innocent lives being killed, blood being shed for no apparent reason. We ask you, Allah, the one solution that we know is in the ghaibat right now. We ask you, Allah, to hasten the reappearance of Imam Zamana and make us la'iq and worthy of his zuhur, inshaAllah. Thank you very much. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
don't have